mainstream media, political talk shows going today. And it's all right here on our flagship station, Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. So join me with that for Inside the Eye Live every Saturday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. It is truly intelligent media for the politically aware.
Welcome to Sacred Matrix, a divine paradigm of love and universal consciousness, with your host, Janet Kira Lesson and Dr. Sasha Lesson.
Together, we transform the world.
And now, here are your hosts, Janet Kira and Dr. Sasha Lesson.
Everyone, boy, I'm getting some interference here. Aloha, everyone, and welcome to the Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio on freedomslips.com. I'm your host, Janet Kira Lesson, with my co-host, Dr. Sasha Lesson, and today we have a very special guest, Terry Ray. Terry is a former military pilot and trial lawyer, a retired law professor emeritus, and a certified field investigator for the Mutual Unidentified Flying Object Network, that are known as MUFON. He is married with 9 children. He's a mill kid, athlete, scholarship, military pilot, disabled veteran, public school teacher, trial lawyer, radio talk show host, morning TV show star, U.S. Congress candidate, theater actor and director, performing singer and tap dancer, novelist for Sunbury Press, law professor, department chairman, professor emeritus, watercolor artist, carpenter, Mutual UFO Network Field Investigator, a team leader for MUFON's Project Orange, school board member, bit part actor in the motion picture industry, writer, father of 9, and grandfather of 7. And that's his life so far, to be continued. And he wrote, he wrote a lot of books, but the 2 we're going to focus on today, a book called GXM 731 is a story of a voyage the voyage of beings from a distant galaxy to Earth, and it's told from the cosmic being's point of view. And that was a fiction book, and his latest book is the complete story of the worldwide invasion of the orange-orbs. And the orange-orbs are very relevant to me because I saw them when I was a child in western Pennsylvania. Dr. Lesson, are you with us here?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So,
yeah, Terry's an insider to what the covert military is up to. So listen in.
Listen in. All right. And Terry, are you
Yes.
there? Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming to our show today. So welcome. What would you like to tell our listeners about yourself that I may have missed? That's quite a bio that you sent me. Wow.
I don't think I need to add anything else. Listening to what you read, I feel tired.
I feel tired of saying it all. It's like,
yeah.
My goodness, and you've lived that life.
Yep, I've been a busy guy.
Busy guy. Well, we got to shut off my phone. All right. So, what would you like to start with? The fictional novel or the latest book you have, The Orange-Orbs?
We could very quickly talk about the fictional novel. There's really, I don't know that much to talk about. It's what I really do for a living is write novels, and the book on Orange-Orbs is my only nonfiction book, and I think it will be my last nonfiction book. They're just too much work. When you write a nonfiction book, you have to be accurate. And, people will call you on it. With fiction, you just make it up. You can't be wrong. Anyway, yeah, that's right. And,
so what were you investigating? What led you on the path that made you create this book that was so much work?
had just become a field investigator for MUFON. This was in 2013. And I was on vacation in Ocean City, Maryland. And frankly, I'd never heard of orange-orbs. And about 10:30 in the evening, it was, I think, the last day of July, I was sitting out on the balcony. I'd been banished from the living area because my wife said they all wanted to go to sleep, and I would disturb them if the TV was on. So anyway, I was thrown out. And I was sitting on a balcony, and I witnessed, over a period of about 45 minutes, 8 very large orange orbs, individually, one at a time, going through precisely the same flight pattern. And that's what I saw. And I, you know, as a pilot, I knew that these things were not from this earth, because we have nothing that can fly like this. And there's nothing in the air at night that's orange. You know, there are reds, whites, and greens, but there's no orange up there. And so that's how I got started. Well, actually, what really got me started was that my fellow field investigators back in Pennsylvania, when I got home, I told them all about what I saw, and they were all sort of laughing among themselves. And so they finally told me why they were laughing at me, and they told me that everybody knows those are Chinese lanterns, and I had to move on along to something that's real. And that aggravated me, and I thought, okay, I'm going to show you. So I thought this would take me 3 weeks, a month, and I would have the whole story. And a year later, I was still investigating.
So let me get this started. These guys were like disinformation, discouraging any kind of real investigation.
Well, MUFON has a culture just like any other organization. And MUFON is a very old organization. It started in the early 1960s. And there have been some conventional thinking that has arisen within the organization. And one of the conventional trains of thought is that orange orbs are Chinese lanterns. And that's all as far as they wanted to go about it with it. And I knew very well as a military pilot that these were not Chinese lanterns. Chinese lanterns blow with the wind. They don't make right angle turns, 45-degree climbs at 10,000 feet, changing direction, and they're not. They don't look anything like an orange orb. Orange orbs are large spherical things, and Chinese lanterns are usually these square things, that you light a candle under. So, anyway. That was the conventional thinking all through MUFON.
How big were they?
Terry,
how big are they?
Yeah. The orbs that I saw, they stopped about 5 miles from me. They're right over where the water meets the sand on the beach. That's where they were. They were only up about, I'd say, 500 feet. And as a former pilot, I'm fairly good at estimating sizes and distances, and I would say they were probably between 150 and 200 feet in diameter.
Okay. Do you have any idea?
Could you see through them? Were they translucent? Or were they?
You can't see through them, but they are translucent. You can see into them, and they have no lighting on the outside. They're actually very, very beautiful. They're mesmerizing. They look. If you've ever been, you guys are in Hawaii, so I'm sure you've seen lots of sunsets, and you know what the sun looks like just as it's going down. That beautiful, glowing pastel yellow, sort of orange red. It's exactly what they look like. Exactly what they look like.
Well, when I was younger, living in Pittsburgh, so this is interesting. You're dealing with Pennsylvania. I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I would see the orange orbs, and they were rather large, and I described them as luminescent. It's a very good description. The sunset as it's going down. But I would see three of them, and one was the orange, one was like a yellow, and one was a green, a bright green.
Yeah.
And they were in formation. So I think that's very important. What you're saying is they're not just floating with the current.
No, they're often going against. They're going against the wind often.
Right. And you couldn't convince them that was something. It wasn't Chinese lanterns. These MUFON people were just close to you, describing them as being.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I want to know, Terry, is whether this had an emotional or a spiritual effect upon you to witness these.
And Sash, can you grab the mic and kind of hold it closer to your mouth because you're sounding garbled? Go ahead, Terry. Answer the question.
Okay.
Yeah, they're better now. It was. I was rather entranced by what I saw, and I was more curious than anything else. I wasn't afraid. Most people are not afraid when they see these things. They're I wrote a book about this, and I finally got into, what they're up to. And they are specifically made not to be frightening. They're made to be very inviting and friendly looking. And so I wouldn't say there was anything spiritual. I mean, I'm a spiritual person, but this did not enhance it one way or the other. It did make me feel different about my life and the world around me. To know for sure there are we have extraterrestrials in our atmosphere. That makes you feel.
So, I get from what you're saying though that there was some sense of it was a public relations thing they were doing, that there was some kind of hidden agenda underneath their facade.
No,
I got you right?
I'm not saying that at all. I don't think there's any hidden agenda. It's just like there's with any organization, whether it's a church or the Elks Club, there's sort of an orthodoxy of thought that evolves. And, and the orthodoxy that evolved around orange orbs is someone came up with the answer to this at one time, the explanation, and they said it was Chinese lanterns. And everyone jumped on board, and that's, anytime you filed a orange orb report, they said Chinese lanterns.
Wow. So they're missing out on a lot of important information by being narrow-minded and instantly cataloging these things, and they're not really doing the full investigation, which these sightings weren't. That's amazing.
They didn't even know they were doing it, maybe.
Well, they knew they were doing it, but they just sort of as they became field investigators and they went through their training, they were and talked to other field investigators. They became indoctrinated as to what various things were, and one of those things were orange orbs or Chinese lanterns. That's just
yeah.
And I was it's an interesting thing. You would expect like MUFON to be very, very open-minded, and probably they were in the very beginning. But there's a lot of orthodox thinking that has developed, and it's hard in MUFON to propose something new. There's a lot of challenges to that and discomfort.
Well, you said earlier, that they were made to be inviting and friendly looking. So
right.
Tell us more about that. What makes you think that?
All right, it's a long story, but let me tell you. We have lots of time. But let me tell you a few of the facts about the orange orbs, and you'll begin to understand why I came to these conclusions. First of all, these orbs only come out in the evening, at night, and they have a very regular pattern. They come out about 8:30 at night, and they come back at 10:30 at night. When I'm saying come back, what I'm saying is that when I read over 2,000 cases, MUFON cases on orange orbs, which just about killed me. But anyway, I learned a lot, and I was able to plot the courses of these orbs, where they're coming from, going to. And I traced them back to 4 different points of origin. And they happen to be, and this is why you saw orange orbs in Pittsburgh. There is an underwater base for the orbs in Lake Erie, just off of Prescott.
Oh.
And
okay.
there is,
okay.
and there's another one off the coast of Los Angeles. There's one off the coast of Miami, and there's one off the coast of Sarasota, Florida. And they each have their own geographical area that they cover, and it's a very regular thing. They fly a certain route. The Erie orbs, for instance, they come out. And by the way, not only did I trace these back to their point of origin, but every underwater orb site I just described, there have been a number of witnesses seeing the orbs going in and out of the water at these places. So
wow,
it's not just my conjecture. But anyway,
okay.
The orange orbs are have exhibited, as I said, they're very pretty. They are intended to be non-threatening, and the orb. Let me explain what that is. People talk about orange orbs. All an orange orb is the cloak around a space vehicle. It's not the vehicle itself. And there have been a number of witnesses to how these orbs are formed. The substance, whatever is used, it almost appears to be, I've seen some videos of this and read the descriptions, but it almost appears to be something plasma-like. And
makes sense.
When they decide to orb themselves, to cloak themselves, the material comes out of the bottom of the space vehicle and goes up around and forms the sphere, just like a beach ball. Okay? So, and they obviously intentionally chose a very beautiful, soothing color. And you have to say to yourself, why would they do that? And another thing also is that there were very, very few orange orbs before this century, before the year 2000. Very few. A few sightings, a year. And when did you? I bet you saw your orbs probably in the 50s, perhaps. Are you there?
Aloha. Reach
Yeah.
808-14344.
Janet, when did you see your orbs, Janet?
Is Janet there?
Are you still there, honey? I guess we lost her. But in any case, so they're associated with these bases. And can you see the craft underneath? Is the one question I have. Do you ever get an inkling of what their craft looks like inside the beach ball?
Well, they have been here. These crafts have been seen during the day, but they are not cloaked, and they are all sorts of different types of vehicles. There are different shapes, different sizes, but they all use the cloaking mechanism at night. And you have to say to yourself, why? Before I did my study and for my book between the years 2003 and 2013. And the reason I started in 2003 is that's when orbs began to reappear. They appeared in the 1940s and the 1950s. They were seen, and then they sort of disappeared.
Okay, what do you think brought them here?
I think they are here to ultimately, I think they are in the last stage of before they will integrate onto the Earth, before they come down. And that's what I think is up right now. Let me just explain a little bit the context of this whole thing. And you have to ask yourself, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
In the year 2003, there was a total of 5 orbs seen in the United States. By 2013, there were 868 orbs seen.
Wow!
In 1 year. And let me give you the numbers as they go along. This is 2003 to 2013. 5, 10, 13, 16, 46, 78, 102, 164, 305, 648, 868. That's how steeply the orb sightings have been climbing. And this is worldwide also. So they are, we're seeing them more and more, and they are going out of their way. Before they started their mass appearances in the early part of the new millennium, it was very, very rare that anyone would see a UFO. I'm sure you remember, like some people there'd be something on the television or something you'd see in a magazine or newspaper, some blurry image of someone saying, this is a UFO. And they were very stealthy up until this, to the year 2000. And,
what was the distribution of these sightings? Was there a pattern? Were they near the seaports?
Actually, they went. This is another reason that I think they are doing what they're doing, which is eventually, in my opinion, in the near future, are going to be making contact. They've already landed in a number of places, but what was that question again?
The question is, what was the pattern of the?
Where they are.
Were they around certain places? Yeah.
I texted a map. I don't know if you got it or not, but a map.
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got the map, but my website was taken down this morning, and I'll get it up soon. So sorry, listeners, I'm going to put it all up. But I will have it after the show. I'll put everything up on a page on my website.
So what did it show?
Well, okay. Here's what if you saw my map, here's what it would look like. They fly where the people are. They if I, as a matter of fact, I have a picture in my book of the photograph of the United States at night with the light pattern. Then I have a map. I did all the orbs. It was over, how many were there? Over 2,000 of them. I took a map of the United States divided up by counties. That's counties, and I mapped out. I put a dot on the map for every single orb that was seen in the cases I read. So these are in this chart. This is every orb that was seen in the United States from 2003 to 2013, and they are where they appear is where the people are. They appear over the populated cities. That's where they are. They don't.
They want to be seen. They want to be seen, and that makes sense.
They do,
because
absolutely.
I would tell my friends, especially my girlfriends, I'd say, "Do you want to see a UFO?" They'd say, "Sure." I say, "Well, let's take a walk at this time, like you said earlier. They come out at, it must have been somewhere like 8:30. I know it was at night.
Right.
And we would go take a walk, and just about every time they would come out. Were they responding to me? Inviting them? I don't know. No?
Where you're talking about when you had your sightings?
Right, all through my childhood.
Yeah.
Mainly in the summer because I didn't go out in winter; it was too cold.
Well,
but
let me tell you, you're in a pathway for the Erie orbs. The Erie orbs, one of the pathways they follow is they come directly south over Cleveland, along the border between Pennsylvania and Ohio, and then they start swerving a bit to the east, and that is Pittsburgh. So that's part of the flight patterns for that area of the country. So Pittsburgh has them going over all the time. But anyway, they intentionally do things to attract attention. Not only, I mean, they could be up there and be invisible because you never see them. A vehicle with no lights on, you never see it. They choose to put this big pumpkin around them and fly only at night, obviously, so people can see them. So that's sort of where you have to start. Why are they going out of their way and increasing in numbers like mosquitoes up in the air year after year? Why are they doing that? And
what's your answer? What did you come up with?
My answer is that they're making us aware that they are there and that they are increasing in numbers, and because of their behavior and their appearance, they appear to be very, very friendly. And what they do, I'm sure you noticed this, they fly very low and they fly very slowly.
Right.
And they're completely silent.
Yes.
And they obviously want to get your attention. If they didn't want to get your attention, they'd fly very high and they wouldn't have this big orange bubble around them that shines like the sun. So they want to be seen, and they want us on Earth to know that they are increasing in number, and they are people. You know what? I do a lot of talks in various UFO groups and other types of groups. I usually start out saying, how many of you have seen an orange orb or know someone that's seen an orange orb? And I would say 4/5 of the people in the audience put up their hand. Now that's how good of a job they've done of making Earthlings aware that they're up there. And I think they are trying to show, whether they are or not, it could be public relations. I think they're trying to show us that they are coming in peace, and that they have not. Of all the cases I read, which I said, I told you is over 2,000, no one was ever hurt by them. Right. They don't abduct much. They have abducted a few, and those who have been abducted said that they weren't hurt, but some of them said they did things to them that they found disgusting. But most of them would not go into any detail. But they haven't killed anybody, to our knowledge. They haven't hurt anybody. And let me give you a really interesting a fact that convinces me that they're trying to avoid confrontation with us. They have, as I told you, my chart of orbs overlaps almost precisely the light pattern of the United States at night, which are all the cities. So they fly regularly over the population areas. However, there's one large population area that they've never flown over. They've never entered their airspace. Would you like to guess where that is?
I don't know. New York?
SAC headquarters.
No. What's that? No.
SAC headquarters.
No.
What?
Washington, D.C.
Oh.
They do not fly over there. And can you, if you think about it, there's a very good reason.
There's missiles that'll bring them down.
Right. There are countless missiles, surface-to-air missiles, ever since 9/11. They are everywhere, and they've got Andrews Air Force Base with jets 24 hours a day taking off and landing, cruising around the area. And if these orbs, as big as they are, and they show up on radar as well, if they were seen entering en masse over Washington, D.C., the missiles would be flying and the jets would be shooting their armament against these things.
Yep. Yeah.
And they know that. They're obviously, if they can come thousands of light years to get here, they're no dummies. They know what they're doing.
Let me ask you a couple questions. So are there any documented cases where they have been chased by our military?
Oh, yeah. They have been. It's it's a funny thing. The U.S. government, still totally denies there's anything such as a extraterrestrial aircraft. They say they just don't exist.
Right.
However, I would say probably half of the sightings that I read of the cases I studied in MUFON, about half of them had aircraft, either normally jets or helicopters on their tail.
Okay.
Right after.
So then that
shows
me that our government knows who these people are. And you said that there were some abductions. Are there any descriptions of the aliens that were taking these people?
Oh, yeah, quite a few. As a matter of fact, that's another interesting thing is that over the last couple of years, the number of landings and the appearances of the passengers on board these orb vehicles has been really increasing over the last 2 years. But anyway, yeah, they have been seen very often, quite often, and they're very well described. Everyone describes them the same way. There's no.
And that is, what do they look like?
Okay, there are two types that come out of these vehicles when they land. There are the tall ones and there are the little ones. The tall ones are approximately 9 feet tall, 8 to 9 feet tall. They're very, very thin and muscular, and they wear what almost all the witnesses described as a skin tight covering over them. It looks like a shiny, some sort of shiny material. They wear that over their entire body. They have they're extremely strong. They've been seen doing some pretty remarkable things in terms of physical prowess. And
do they have gender?
No one, if they do have a gender, no one mentioned it or distinguished it. So
they were androgynous, or a lot of people say, well, I got the impression they were male or they were female, but no one said that they thought they were one or the other.
No, none of them did.
Okay.
However, there is a connection between the orbs. I mean the beings. I just described the large ones. And by the way, their eyes are not what you see described. I mean, portrayed in the science fiction movies, UFO movies. Their eyes are very human-like, and they're just slightly bigger. So it's not creepy. Their heads are just slightly larger than human beings, but their eyes are very, very human-looking.
Okay.
And their ears are very, very small, and so is their mouth, and so is their nose. But their eyes are very human-like. And that is those are the tall ones. And then there are the short ones. They're about 4 feet tall, and they're a lighter color. And it's interesting. No one said it looked like they had any sort of, uniform or a suit over their bodies. They just describe them as being lighter colored, and their heads are bigger than the tall beings. And here's what's interesting with these with the two groups. There were a number of sightings where these where the tall ones and the short ones were outside the vehicles, and they were on the ground. And a number of people said that the interaction between the little ones and the big ones was just like watching parents at a playground. Mm-hmm. The tall ones would be standing around looking like they were communicating with one another, and the little ones were playing. So I don't know what to make of that, other than the fact it sure looks like a family vacation. No, really.
Some visitors.
And it could very well be there's a parental relationship there. And maybe that's what the black ones look like when they're little.
Could they pass in our population? Could they pass the streets of New York City?
Oh, no.
Okay.
First of all, they're almost 9 feet tall. And they... they have their arms and legs are longer, noticeably longer than a human's arms and legs, and they just you would never mistake them for a human being.
When the craft was on the ground, what did it look like? The same when it was in the air?
When it was in the air?
When the craft was on the ground, and it was decloaked, did it look different than when it was in the air and cloaked?
Well, the orbs that have landed, they maintained their orb when they got on the ground.
Okay.
The orb, they didn't. They can turn off that orb in an instant, and they would be invisible. You'd never see them.
Were these orb landings in the United States, or where were they?
They're all over the world, but we've had quite a few in the United States, and a lot of people have seen them do things. I know one poor lady, I think it was North Carolina. She lived on a farm, and one of these orbs landed out not far from their house near their barn. And she described these tall, skinny beings getting out one at a time, and then they started running toward her barn. And she said they ran like deer. She's never seen any creature run this fast, two-legged creature.
Wow.
And she was very frightened by it all. And she didn't quite understand what MUFON was. She was filing with MUFON, and she said, "Please come help us. We're frightened."
Oh.
What did they do in the barn?
They didn't actually make it to the barn. They kept running past the barn, and she said her farm animals then and her dogs started going crazy. Everybody, the cows were mooing, and the sheep were bleating, and the dogs were barking, the cats were whatever they do.
Meowing. So all the animals are going off, and these
yeah, they I guess they were really frightened of these things, and then they disappeared, and then within like 15 minutes or so they were running back, got into the orb, and were gone. But that's the story of the beings.
Wow.
So, is Janet still with us?
Janet, are you still there?
She just disappeared.
Must have lost her. But anyway, it's like, do they portend propitiously? Are they going to help us out? Are they neutral? Are we in competition with them? What is all this about?
That we won't know, and until I think my opinion is I think there will be there is sporadic contact with their making appearances right now. And as I said, it's increasing over the last couple of years. But I would say within the next 3 years, it's my prediction, I guess you can write it down, that they will be making actual contact. Well, I think what they're doing right now, this isn't their first time to do this. It's first time for Earth. But I mean, my opinion is these are probably specialized beings whose job it is to acclimate a planet, to get them ready to make contact with them. I'm sure you know how civilizations can be destroyed when something happens that destroys all their belief systems. You know, that's happened to a lot of primitive tribes that, like Margaret Mead and her group. They go into a primitive tribe and, to supposedly study them, and they end up destroying the culture because everything they believed was proved not to be true, and it just collapsed their society. And I'm sure these beings are intelligent enough to know that you can't just, without getting people ready, you just can't come dropping out of the sky if you don't want complete panic and a destruction of society. So I think what they're doing is, and I think, as I said, I think they've done this lots and lots of times on other planets. I think they are slowly getting us. I mean, look, they over the last 10 years, they have just built up the number. It wasn't all of a sudden, like in 2003, there were like 800 over the United States, 800 orbs flying around. They started out very slowly and, have built up, and there's more and more of them to the point, as I said, that most people you meet have either seen orbs or they know someone who's seen orbs. Now, that's, if they're trying to get you used to their being up there and not being afraid of them, that seems to be the way to do it.
But do they have an agreement? Do they have an agreement with our clandestine military, and which has fantastic firepower?
Yeah, I don't think so. I really don't. They are out there. If they had some kind of agreement, they wouldn't be out there chasing them all the time. They're trying to figure out. The military is trying to figure out what they are, just like we are, and and they're being made to look foolish, by the these aircraft. I mean, they come up with F-16s, with afterburners flaming, and these things in an instant either blink out or they move 100 miles in a millisecond. So, I saw a physicist give a demonstration. It was of heavy gravitons with inside of a sphere of lighter gravitons, and when these craft blink in and out, they're creating these little wormholes for themselves. It could be. I think they are clearly. They clearly have anti-gravity mechanisms because of the way they fly. We everything we have on Earth operates on an airfoil. With the differential air pressure above the wing and below the wing. And that's the way we operate. And these things just don't do it that way. They have an entirely different method of propulsion, and I do think they're probably coming here through wormholes. And as a matter of fact, I found one case. It was fascinating. I was hoping to find a case to give me some direction as to how they're getting here. In a case, I think it was in Miami, as I recall. I think so. But anyway, some they were like women who worked in a cafeteria or something. They weren't, highly educated scientists, and they described they gave a very specific description of what they saw in the sky. And if you read what they described, they saw in the sky, it's exactly what Einstein predicted a wormhole would look like. So almost exactly. And so I would not, I have no way of proving it, but I would not doubt that. I mean, these women could not make this up. You know, maybe some, person who was very astute with astrophysics and all sorts of things could make it up. But these women, you know, they were high school or not even high school educated, and they described a wormhole. That's what they described. There's no doubt about it. So I give great credence to their story because they would have no way of making this up. And I think absolutely. Are you there?
I'm still there.
Yeah, that's the way they travel. I'm sure of that. You know, they use wormholes or they bend space. One of the two. So anyway, so I think they are obviously doing something that is very organized. I mean, if you think about what they're doing, they have a regular flight plan. You know, they fly at regular times. They have bases, and also, I think Janet's coming back in here.
Oh, good. Welcome, Janet. Are you back?
Hi,
Janet?
I just got back on. Sorry. Having problems getting booted off the air for some reason.
Yeah.
But I'm back. I'm on the other line.
Could be a government
So I missed about 10 minutes of it. What's that?
Yeah. Anyway, let me tell you a couple other interesting things.
Sure.
Okay.
And this ties into another famous sighting. All of these orbs, the orange orbs, they are just the smaller ships. Every group of orbs that's working, whatever various parts of the country they're in, each of the sectors has a mothership. And this has been seen many, many times. There are these huge black triangles. And here's it's fascinating. These orbs, on a fairly regular basis, go up and attach themselves to the bottom, along the edges of the bottom of these triangles. And
wow.
you know, and it's, sometimes they're very clever about it. They can make themselves any color they want to be. By the way, they choose orange, but they can be red. They can be like rainbow color, whatever. But they've been seeing a lot of different patterns around. You know, when they attach themselves in the bottom of this triangle. Sometimes they go like orange, red, the whole way around the perimeter. Other times they one each corner. But anyway,
it's like Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I do think I'll give you my theory as to what's going on for these orbs attaching up there. You have to sort of think through who these people are. And as I said, they're very intelligent people. You know, they're obviously not the creatures like in Tom Cruise in War of the World. You know, looking like a bunch of octopuses. I mean, good God. You know, how would something the way they appeared in that movie operate a control panel? You know, or, you know, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Right.
So anyway, these people are they know what they're doing, and they obviously are sentient beings, just like we are. And my opinion is, I know what it's like to be in a cockpit for long hours, and these orbs fly only 2 hours a day, and then they get back down underwater again. Now, if you're an intelligent being, I think human beings would go crazy doing that. You get out of the water like 2 hours a day. And my opinion is, I think they use this home base sort of like R&R, rest and relaxation.
Okay.
So
they're coming to Earth for relaxation.
I think they do. Yeah.
And then when they come out at night, they're just touring our cities. And are they looking out the windows? Or do they have any way to observe that you're aware of?
Are they looking out windows?
Right. When I was back around 1966 or so, 67, I saw one that was kind of cigar-shaped, but it had definitely looked like windows.
Yeah. Well, you see,
and
that was
were looking out. They were not human.
Yeah. That was before they started cloaking themselves. Now if there's a cigar-shaped vehicle right now, you probably would never know it because it's cloaked. The only time you see these vehicles these days are the times when they appear during the day, and they do from time to time. And most of them are sort of silvery looking, and those are the vehicles without their cloak. And if you saw something with windows, you were seeing a vehicle without its cloak.
Right, and it was tree height and silent, and it hovered. It didn't move, and it stayed for quite a long time.
Yeah,
and I definitely see the beings and they were looking at me. So, but for me, it was a little spiritual. It felt peaceful, very peaceful.
Yeah. That, I think, as I said, that's the whole idea. They don't want you to be afraid, and they want you to become accustomed to seeing them up there and not be afraid. And I think they're doing a good job. Really, I do. Most people...
So you said that it's about 2 hours a day go back on the water, then I interrupted you with a question. So you had a whole theory around that. What was going on?
Well, anyway.
2 hours a day.
Yeah, what are they doing under the water there? And during their
I frankly think they're parked down there, and they're parked there in their vehicles, because they turn off. There have been a lot of these seen going down into the water at these underwater base sites, and it's interesting. What they do is they get down almost to the water, and they're still glowing orange. Right before they go into the water, they go black. You can still see the orb, but it goes black. They turn the light off of the orb, and it goes in. And I think they get out wherever they are. I mean, it's a great place to park. I mean, who in the world's going to get down there? We don't know what's on the bottom.
You can easily do this with a holographic projection. You don't need, you just project. It's not that we do that inside of a planetarium right now. Whatever they're doing, they go into the water and they don't come out till the next night. So I got to figure they're probably down there in their vehicles, and I wouldn't like that. I mean, that's one of the primary things they worry about on this trip to Mars that we're going to be taking in about 15 years.
Right.
One of the primary concerns isn't the equipment. Isn't the technical aspect. It is the psychological aspect of human beings dealing with being in a small compartment. It's going to take them 6 months to get there.
Yeah, they really need training in how to do this. It's an art, and most people in their everyday life have not mastered the art of getting along like that in those kind of circumstances.
Right.
And it's a very difficult thing to do, and that's why I think the people who are in these vehicles they're cloaked at night. I think they from time to time get to go up to the mother orb and go inside and I think, regain their sanity. I honest to God think that's what's happening. I mean, I just try to put myself
could they be floating on top of the water, or are they submerged?
No. They go down. You can, and when
they're definitely under.
Oh yeah,
right.
And it could because. Go ahead.
What about an underground facility? When I was on Johnson Atoll, I was taken underwater during abduction, and underneath there was a whole facility, and it was very large. It was huge. It was cavernous, and that part that was built by the U.S. military and part was natural. So maybe they have these facilities underwater, so they're not really subjected to such, conditions like when you're traveling in space, but they might have malls and the whole thing, just like under Area 51. Oh, we're going to be on break-in,
yeah.
Like, no. Okay.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Hey, that came up fast. Everybody, thank you so much. Please hold. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. We'll see you in 5.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. We'll be right back after this message.
Oscar Freeze. That's just a cerebral cortex looking for an answer it doesn't have.
See? Even your brain knows it's true.
It's feeling the adrenaline right now. Whether you know it or not. Heart's beating fast. See, when I let it out of the brain, the neurobiological system is telling it to run, which releases it to move. Fear is not real. The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist. That is near insanity. Do not misunderstand me. Danger is very real, but fear is a choice. We are all telling ourselves a story.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. 100% listener-supported radio. Reporting to danger. Unafraid. Right here, where information never sleeps. Revolution Radio!
At 12 noon Eastern on Studio A to hear Tammy Adams share her knowledge of an unknown realm on Talking with Your Angel. Join Tammy as she uncovers hidden secrets about the spiritual world of angels, ghosts, and other entities that have been with us longer than we know. Tammy is a psychic, a teacher, spiritual coach, a leader in her field, and will be sharing her information and stories with you. So join us on Tuesdays at noon on Studio A. With Tammy's guidance, you'll find out who has been watching over you from the other side, and soon you will be talking with your angel.
Join Revolution Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Studio B for Momentary Zen with host Zen Garcia at freedomslip.com, the People Station.
You
opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and FreedomSlips.com, its staff, or affiliates.
You're listening to Revolution Radio, FreedomSlips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Sacred Matrix on Revolution Radio at FreedomSlips.com. And I am your host, Janet Kira Lesson, with my co-host, Dr. Lesson, and we are having this fantastic show on the Orange-orbs with Terry T. Ray. But before we go back to our show, I'd like to remind everybody that Revolution Radio is listener-supported, so please do go over to the button on the website, freedomslips.com, and make a donation of whatever you can afford. $1, $5, $15, $20, whatever you can afford is greatly appreciated, and we do thank you for your donation, and your donations help us to bring you shows like this and many others on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. And Dr. Lesson, are you back with us?
Yes, indeed.
You are? Okay. And Terry, are you there?
I'm present and accounted for.
Present and accounted for.
Yes,
I was saying, well, that first hour went fast and it flipped up on me. I was saying about, I was in an underwater installation, and I didn't see them all in movie theaters, but I have a friend that was in Area 51, and she reports that these underground installations are very incomplete with a lot of facilities for the people who are there. So perhaps, we don't know for sure, but maybe when they go underwater, and there is an underwater base off of the coast of Malibu that they've discovered, and I think if you just Google Malibu underwater base, it looks pretty substantial. So back to you, Terry, but that's been a fascinating first hour. And Dr. Lesson, do you have anything to say before we go back to Terry?
Yeah, we're really interested in what these people are about, or if you were one of these adult orb people, what do you want with Earth? What do you want with Earthlings?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
That's a good question, and that's sort of what in the novel I wrote originally, the GXM 731. That's what I tried to address. What do they want and what are they doing here? And I told in a fictional way from the alien point of view. And so when I try to think, well, what are they doing here? I try to think, as I did in this novel, from their point of view. And it's really hard to say. I think they clearly are trying to gently make their way into our society. I think they are being cautious. I mean, if they a lot of people say, oh, well, aliens are evil and they're here to destroy us, or like in War of the Worlds, to eat us. Good God. And, if that was their intent, they would have done it a long time ago. Wouldn't be doing what they're doing. They're being very gentle with us, with what they're doing. They're being very considerate of our feelings, and they're trying to make us not afraid of them, and they're trying to preserve our society so there's no huge cultural shock when we in fact do integrate with them, and they are walking around and have presented themselves to us on Earth. So I think if they had bad intentions, we would know it by now. But people who want to destroy you aren't just nice to you. They're just not. They're not worried about destroying your society or frightening you.
They're here to play basketball with us.
It could be. It could be very small. That's the first thing that'll happen is some owner of an NBA team like Mark Cuban was trying to draft these 9-footers, onto his team. He'll really integrate them. But anyway, I get a feeling that they're here for good reasons, and who's to say what that is? But if you think about it, once they do appear, and I do think it'll be, in my opinion, within 3 years, given the rate at which they're accelerating their programs starting in 2003. It's just accelerating at a tremendous rate. I think it very likely they will be making contact directly in about 3 years. And if you think about it, when that actually happens, I think it'll change a lot of things on Earth, just because of our change in perspective. That I think it'll be beneficial. I really do to humanity.
Perspective for humanity, because it's not working from people who are starving and dying of diseases that are all curable, and the systems, energy systems we have that are destroying the earth. We definitely need something different. And so I hope what you're saying is true, that these are friendly beings, that they are going to be contacting us soon openly. Do you have any stats for the sightings in 2014? We went to 2013.
Yeah, I do. I have been keeping up to date on this. And what happened in 2014 has totally baffled me. I'll tell you why. As I told you before, starting in 2003 up till 2013, it went from 5 sightings a year to 868 sightings in a year. So that's a very steep slope. However, in 2014, last year, there were only 410 orbs sighted.
Okay.
Let that sink in for a minute. That's less than half than were sighted in 2013. Now, I'll tell you, that really threw me for a loop, because when after 2014 was over and I went through all the cases and started counting them up, and I did it state by state too also, and it was, I expected we would probably be up to around like 1,200, 1,300. And instead of this slope increasing upward, it dropped down to less than half of where it was in 2013.
It sounds like a dry dock for maintenance or something.
Well, I'll give you my opinion. I've given this a lot of thought as to why in the world it would drop like this. Here's what I think would be a real possibility. I think probably the United States, as we know, is one of the big players, maybe the biggest player on planet Earth, and they know that. They know that. They're not dumb, and I'm sure they know all about us. I'm sure they know all of our languages. I'm sure they listen. They understand all our languages, and I'm sure they listen to our broadcasts and what we send out into the I'm sure they listen to it. And
sure.
I think that they're going to be with this drop from 800 to less than half. I think what they are probably doing, in my opinion, is they reached, I guess, when they with 868. I think they reached the point of saturation with. I think they thought, okay, that's sufficient with the United States. We've made the impression we want. Just about everybody knows we're up here. Very few people are afraid of us, and we've done our job here. And I think what's possible is they may be moving their fleets to concentrate more heavily on other countries around the world.
So now they're over Russia.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will know soon. MUFON, United States MUFON, they're headquartered in California. They are in a process right now. They did fundraising and they got enough money. They are in a process right now of integrating all the MUFONs in the world into one comprehensive reporting site.
Oh.
So think about that.
Great.
I would be, thus far, you can't do very good research. I mean, one of my chapters in my book is called Around the World, and I do cite cases all around the world where they are identifying orange orbs and these space visitors, and it's all exactly the same description all around the world. But anyway, I think they're shifting. My opinion, I think they're shifting their focus to other countries. And as I said, once they get this system working, I will be able to detect that, because I will be able to see. I will be able to do with other countries exactly what I did with the United States. I will be able to chart the number of visits, sightings of the orange orbs, and see if all of a sudden in 2014 they started escalating in other countries. Then I would
wonder if they had some kind of agreement now that they've shown the power to the Joint Chiefs. Hidden bosses, the real chiefs of the military probably have had an agreement. Okay, go. You don't need to impress us anymore. Do you think there's been an explicit agreement?
Do I think so?
Yeah. What do you guess?
No, I don't. I think one of the reasons that they're doing what they're doing, in all the space movies, they always have the aliens down and they go to the White House, and they, take me to your leader. Yeah. And I think if they are studying our culture and our relationship with the government, I'm sure they're quite well aware that by making the government aware of their presence won't change anything, because they'll never tell us if they did. So I think what they're doing is they're going around the government. They're not even going to Washington, D.C. Think about it. They're not even going there. They're taking their case basically to the people, and the people are. I'm sure you've noticed. Have you noticed more and more UFO programs on television?
Oodles, yes.
Every year there's more of them. I think it has a lot to do with the orange orbs. More and more people are aware of these things, and and the pressure is growing more and more on the government to come clean. Whenever a lot of people said, "Oh yeah, well, it's all just fiction," because 15 years ago, how many people actually saw a UFO? It was very rare.
Report them. So you have two things going on here. We probably have how many more people have seen them, but they're too afraid to report them. They don't know where to report them. They don't want to report them because they'll be deemed. So we don't know how much is this kind of self-censoring process that's been going on for all this time. Because I didn't want to report any of my sightings to MUFON.
Right.
So there's me. I'm one statistic. How many other millions haven't? So we don't have a real accurate picture.
Let me tell you how that works. There have been some studies done on this, and whenever I said there 868 orbs were sighted in the United States in 2013, that doesn't mean that only 868 orbs were in our skies in 2013. That is the number of orbs that were reported to MUFON. Now, here's what's interesting. There have been some studies done on this, and MUFON, when people are asked, have you ever seen a UFO? If they say yes, the questioning continues. Did you report it to anyone? Probably it's one out of several hundred will report it to somebody. Okay, so if 300 people see an orb, probably one person will report that somewhere. It's just like with my sighting in Ocean City, Maryland. I mean, that was a busy time of the year, and I'm sure thousands and thousands of people sitting out on their decks, just like I was, saw these orbs. You couldn't miss them. It's like the Goodyear blimp being 100 feet from you, But there were, out of the thousands and thousands of people that must have seen these orbs, 2 people reported it. Me and a young girl, like a college girl, reported it to MUFON.
Right. Yeah.
That's 2.
Yeah.
Now,
Gotcha.
I'll tell you where people report. Number one, you know who we want to guess? The top first person most people call, the first official office.
They call the police.
Right. They call the police, number one. And the police don't even want to hear about it. They're busy writing up speeding tickets and everything else they're doing. And really, they don't want to be bothered by somebody, which they would call a kook, calling in about a UFO. So you're wasting your time with the police, 99% of the time. And the second most frequent place people report. Want to guess on that one?
Bartender.
The bartender. The airline. The advisor. They call
FAA.
FAA. No, most people don't even know what that stands for, frankly. But anyway,
maybe they call the governor's office or something.
The second most popular place where people report is radio or television. They report to the media.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that again is a total waste of time, because if you take a look at what the mainstream media does with these stories, it's always like the last story on the news, and they come out with the X-Files music, and they talk about some sighting that took place around Pittsburgh, and then then they all laugh. They turn it into a joke. That's
right,
what mainstream. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Right, and then the third place that people report is to the U.S. government, whether it's the Army, the Marines, somewhere in the government, they report, which is a complete waste of time, because the U.S. government has a standing policy to not only deny the existence of UFOs, but to overtly ridicule anyone who makes such an assertion. So there you go. Now, MUFON almost never comes up when people are talking about where they report. So if MUFON, if 1,000 people saw orbs, I would say probably 1 out of 1,000 reports that to MUFON. Because the vast majority, even though the MUFON now has, a couple of TV shows out, and you see some of the MUFON people on the other, as guests on the other shows, like Ancient Aliens. Bill Burns is on that, and
right.
You see them pop up various places. But MUFON, and Studio, Hangar 1 is doing really well. Have you seen that one? That's the MUFON.
No, we're out here. We don't really have television, but I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Hanger one, has it been on for enough years, or is it a new show?
Pardon me?
Hanger one, has it been out a number of years, or is it a new show?
It's in its second season, and it's doing really, really well. And it is sponsored. One of the sponsors is MUFON, and MUFON. What it is, it's a show about MUFON files. So more people now know about MUFON than they did, several years ago. I mean, the average person, if you said to the average person, "Do you know what MUFON is?" they probably have like some kind of secret society or something,
Right.
Or a fancy name for a thespian, one of those deals. But very few people have heard of MUFON.
Harry and Sasha, could we hold one moment? Nighthawk would like to say something. He's our executive producer.
Wonderful. Thank you,
Nighthawk, are you there? Would you like to say something?
Yeah, how you doing, folks?
Good.
We're doing great.
Oh, it's
how
wonderful
are you?
to hear you.
Yeah,
Glad to hear your call.
I've tried to call you guys so many times to throw promotions in behind your shows to help you guys out. And nobody ever answers my call.
Well, usually I'm not looking at the board here. I'm just kind of taking notes to track my guests so I can, ask intelligent questions.
But do remember that I'm calling in on the same line that callers, the general public. I'm calling on the exact same line the general public might call it and have an answer or have a question to ask you. But anyway, through your show, till the end of your show, anyone that donates to the station $35, I will send you a 1-ounce bar of silver. Now, I'm not selling silver. That is a gift. Until the end of your show, that is exactly what's going to happen. All they have to do is put Janet Lasan or Sasha Lasan. All they have to do is put that in the buyer notes, and that is how that works. Okay?
Cool. Thank you. Wow.
Till the end of your show, we have gone into a major upgrade. All shows are going out in HD stereo, and come right around May 15th or so, we're going to go out in Super HD. I just have to upgrade all of the servers, which is going to take a minute, and we'll have that out going. See what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes, it's wonderful.
All right.
Up-leveling.
Well, let me get this straight. This is Terry talking. You're giving out silver?
Yeah, I'm giving away silver.
Giving away silver. Well, let me make a picture. I've got 9 kids.
If you donate $35 to the station and to this show, I'm going to mail you 1-ounce bar of silver. It's like what, 1036 right now. It's not like I'm sending you $1 million or anything, but that's just a return gift for donating to the station, etc. But if you hang on to it long enough, it might be worth even more. So, silver is going up and down, and that's just this show, and that is just in the continental United States because of the shipping. I'm not interested in losing money, but we just did a massive upgrade. We just went from a T1 to 300 megabyte fiber for the station. I don't know if anybody's noticed it, and it's going to get even more. So, all you hosts out there, don't fart. Everybody will hear it.
I'll keep that in mind.
We have gone into HD stereo now, and we have the ability to actually do video. I don't know why anyone would want to do video for radio. I have a face for radio, not video. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, So that's kind of the gist of this. So make your donations, and I'm really interested in to see who wants to support your show. We have 70-something people. I want to see who supports who has whatever, all that kind of thing. So send in $35, do the donation, put your name on it, and I will send you a 1-ounce bar of silver.
Well, thank you. That's amazing. That's really generous.
Far out. I know, and the idea of giving people the option of having something to see as well as hear is a good option to have.
All right. Anyway, awesome out, guys. Talk to you later. Peace.
Okay, thank you, Nighthawk.
All right.
Aloha.
Hold on. Terry, are you still there?
I'm still here, yeah.
Yeah. Terry,
okay, great.
I'm still back on this. These guys are really strong, and we joked about basketball, but do they have a breeding program? Do they make babies with us? Or most alien races do have breeding programs, genetic breeding and cloning programs.
I don't really have an opinion on that. It's possible, and as a matter of fact, in the DXM 731 in my novel, that's part of the plot. That's in my mind as a fiction writer. I have nothing concrete that I have come across in my research on the orbs. Have I uncovered anything that would be remotely connected to some sort of breeding program? So, obviously these beings that are piloting the orbs, I don't think they're surreptitiously breeding. It doesn't sort of coincide with how they're treating us.
Earlier on, you said they were abducting a few.
Yeah, they have.
Things that the abductees thought were disgusting. Do you have any more insight into what that might be about?
The people, there have only been a handful of people that have been taken, and they pretty much all say the same thing, but they don't get into any details. So I guess leaves it up to your imagination. They weren't hurt, but they did things to them that were disgusting. Now, I'm not sure.
No insight what disgusting things they did. Okay.
I sort of feel that. I sort of feel that
prodigious strength.
What's that?
You said they had prodigious.
Okay.
They have.
You said they had great strength.
They do.
What made you think that? What did they show?
Well, they have been seen. There was one particular case. It was in California, and a group of people saw one of the tall creatures. I don't want to call them creatures. I sound like Tom Cruise in Star Wars. Anyway, one of these beings, one of the tall ones, was dragging some huge thing that was, digging up the sand as he was pulling it, and the witnesses said that it was something that a human being would never be able to move. That's one example of how strong these beings are, and they're obviously very athletic. With the way the woman in North Carolina described how they run, and so they have been seen doing some pretty remarkable feats of strength.
Did they get pictures of the markings in the ground that they left?
Yeah, there have been some of the pictures. There have been some pictures, like circular pictures, where they've touched down. But there's, in the MUFON cases, I didn't read of any like trace evidence being examined, and so I don't know if there, other than the fact that there were some round circles on the ground. That's about all that I came across in my research.
Well, I guess we should ask if the listeners to take a Geiger counter if you have one, and other devices you have to sample where you have spotted one of these orange orbs.
Are you asking, have I done that?
No, I'm saying let's expand what you've been doing and ask everybody listening to this program to start adding the dimension of get some way of measuring the effects of a touchdown of these orbs, if you think about it.
Yeah, they have a special team in MUFON, our national MUFON, that when there's an actual landing, they send out a special team that has all that equipment to do it. I just have not been able to read any of the analysis reports, so I don't know what they found.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask a question.
Right.
How do we know that the orange orbs are not related to the other types of craft and the other beings? Is there any way that they are a separate type of sighting, or are they all connected in some way?
Well, if you, I have access, to daily reports on MUFON, and at one time there were a wide variety of vehicles being seen, like cigar-shaped, disc-shaped, all sorts of, different shape, like star-like shape. But almost all of the reports anymore are these orange spheres. And what I think is happening is, I think there's all these vehicles are still around, but you can't see them anymore because they're all cloaking themselves in this program of being seen. So
they this cloaking technology, so we don't know which ships are appearing because they're all appearing as orange orbs.
Yeah.
Then by that logic, wouldn't they be connected with the abductee program? Since they have taken people, that's the disconnection I'm saying. Because we have millions of abductees now that are starting to come forth. And I know that MUFON is just now opening to cataloging the experiencers, the abductees. And I'm going to be having time to explore that aspect. I know, there's a lot of work in this, and I appreciate the work you've done to analyze the orange orbs.
Right. Well, there may be other types of beings operating, and I don't know. All I know is that all the cases I read on the orange orbs dealt with only two types of beings, the two types I described, and so that's about all I can tell you. There may be other types of beings from other, solar systems that are operating parallel with the orbs, but I don't know. I don't know about that. I didn't read any cases with the orange orbs where there was any connection with other types of beings.
Okay.
Okay. The only connection that I had in any of the cases were one of the two types of beings that I mentioned.
So this is all going to be in their new database where they're going to add the whole world.
Right.
Do the other countries have databases like we do have here in the U.S., and are they just going to be all pulled into one big giant system?
They'll be downloaded into the system, but MUFON and its when you research cases, you have to select. You have a whole bunch of parameters you have to select, and so you would when I was doing my research, I selected the red orange orbs. That's what I was looking for. I didn't select anything else. And so they are broken down into categories. They have a database that you can pull out whatever you're looking for. And I think it'll change a lot when we have this worldwide data system. It'll really give us a good idea. We know what's going on in the United States because we have a very good system here, but most of the other countries do not have a very good system. And go ahead.
Well, that means, so this is going to be available internationally, and people who have a sighting can can go report their sightings as long as they have a computer. Is that what's going to happen?
You don't have to report on a computer. There are phone numbers that even in the United States are used. You can phone MUFON and file a report. There's a lot of different ways of filing it.
Right, but one of the options will be somebody's down in Venezuela. They're not going to want to call the U.S. So each country will tap into this network. Uh-huh.
So if you're in Venezuela, you will be uploading your information into the worldwide network of UFOs. So we'll all be able to look at one another and see what's going on. Just like I did the trends in the United States with these orbs, over 10 years. We'll be able to do that with all the countries. In that way, they're very revealing.
So you're going to be doing another book then, which will report the global trend of the orange orbs?
Yeah, I think I will. I would love to get a picture of it. I would love to see what it looks like. Because when I first started, as I said, I knew nothing about orange orbs, and I thought maybe it was a rare event I saw. And then I find out that, in 2013, that was the biggest year of all. And there were, and let's go back to, I was telling you about how few people report. 868 people reported orange orbs to MUFON. Do you realize how many people that means actually saw these things?
No, how many?
Well, you have to think about it. Probably we're lucky if like 1 in 1,000 report to MUFON.
1,000, okay.
8,000.
Yeah, you're talking many if you take 800 times 1,000, you got 800,000.
800,000, right.
Right, and 838. That's a minuscule number of the people who have seen orbs. Are you with me on this? So
right.
The number of orbs, they're like locusts if you think about it. For us to get 800,
huge.
Yes, it is.
And that's
it's
just in the United States. There were 800,000 things and only 800 reported, and then take that globally. So we basically have disclosure. They're showing themselves to us en masse.
One thing that would be really interesting is since they seem to be over the populated cities, one wonders whether it's where the light and the electricity is. What about the cities where they don't have much electricity? The gigantic cities like Rangoon, are there less or more people because there's more people but less light? The global perspective, it gives us all kinds of interesting questions.
They pretty much, as I said, you could overlay my map with the map of the lights of the United States at nighttime, and they coincide.
Yeah.
So they are definitely flying to the lights. There's no doubt about
to the light.
They're flying where the lights are because that's where the population base is. That's what they're doing. And
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, if you could just get hold of an abductee and actually do a hypno-regression or talk at some length with people if they remember everything, that's what would really give us much more insights too, I think.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would. That it would give us insight into that particular case, and we may learn something.
Yeah.
But I think the value is in the big studies. So you can really get a feel for what is going on in totality here, because then you can start piecing together the possibility of motives. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you're dealing with mass behavior, it starts telling you things that things going on are not random. They're being done in a very overt and organized way, which means there is a motive behind it.
A display.
Right. And I think that's the most valuable type of research we can do right now, is to get the big picture on all these things. I'd love to see it done with abductions, exactly what I did. No one's ever really done it. Where are they taking place? Are there clusters? You hear about all these individual cases, but no one has ever taken the time to put it all together like I did with orange orbs. And that's exactly what we need to do.
Well, maybe that's your next project, because you're so thorough at it and you're good at it.
Oh, Lord. You know what? I think my publisher would kill me. I mean, he wants every 4 months he wants a novel. And I put him off for an entire year, and I thought I was going to lose my contract. So, as I said, it may be a long time before I, do another nonfiction book. But I'll tell you something that's going on, and a lot of people don't know. It's because it's very new. It's connected to this. You remember I was telling you in the very beginning that MUFON was locked into this Chinese lantern thing?
Right.
Well, since my book was published, and it's being, read by many, many field investigators and by people all around the world, that influence, all the people reading this, finally got to MUFON headquarters. And just about a month ago, MUFON headquarters, there's a new director. His name's Jan Harzen. I don't know if you've met him or not, but he is really... Jan?
Laughlin, Nevada conference with Paul Harris in November, and he's going to be there this year.
Right. Well, when you meet him, thank him for what he's doing, because he's bringing MUFON into the new millennium. And he's trying to change things, and things really are changing for the better. And anyway, this problem with the orange orbs being locked in as Chinese lanterns, which is absolutely ridiculous. Anybody that's ever seen an orange orb knows they are not Chinese lanterns. Anybody. Anyway, he concluded from it started with my book, but then it picked up momentum. He concluded that it's the time to take a new look at the orange orbs, and for the first time in MUFON, he created a special project. It's called Project Orange, and I was named. There were three of us, and I was one of the team leaders for this project. And we have been given basically a 1-year charter to do an extensive study of orange orbs, and then report it, back to headquarters. And
great.
So that tells you how much things can change if you could challenge. The orthodoxy, sometimes you can make a change. And I caught a lot of flack for the book I wrote, by those who were into the, classic thinking about orange orbs. But I would say now the Chinese lantern people are becoming the minority.
Right.
Terry, it seems to me that you were selected, and this isn't random, but that you were selected to initiate this series of changes and openness as part of the overall program of getting us ready.
You mean selected by the extraterrestrial being?
Yes,
that's
and it seems since you wrote that earlier fiction book, they were preparing. To me, from what my research has shown me, is when people have that type of insight, like you wrote a whole book from the alien perspective, that on some subconscious telepathic level, they were contacting you. And we're having this dialogue about how you changed a whole reality by writing this book. And I know your publisher wants this, that, the other thing. However, this is such an important project I don't know who else has the ability or the wherewithal or the patience to perhaps do this with the experiencers, the abductees, contactees. And so it's not about money or anything. This is an important contribution to humanity because this book about the experiencers and what's going on globally will just awaken the whole planet to what's going on. And I think it's very important. And since you're a MUFON, you don't have to do it, but just think about it because someone has to do it.
When you finally get a copy of my book, I end up by saying just about what you're saying. I said perhaps I am being an instrument of these beings, and I said that's okay as long as they don't ask for any of my royalties. That was how I ended it. But anyway, it was a strange experience because starting in July, I saw the 8 orbs, and after that, I saw another orange orb right over. I live in the town of Indiana, PA, Jimmy Stewart's hometown, and last summer, I saw an orange orb. Sometimes the orange orbs, they one of the classic characteristics that's is noticed that they drop. It looks like they're discharging something. It looks like glittery stuff dropping something. A lot of people have seen that, and I saw one of those last summer. I've seen a red orb. We haven't talked about red orbs before. They're about the size of a basketball down to the size of a softball. Nobody's inside of them. Those are their sort of like the I don't know what you call it, like a probe. There's nobody inside of them. Yeah, like a drone. Yeah, and those. Pardon me.
Drones maybe collecting data, information, or maybe filming or photographing humanity, or.
What they do is they are the up close and personal orbs. The red orbs tend to if there's a group of people out on a balcony or out on the beach at night or whatever, they will come right up to a person within a few inches of the person and go right up to their face. They go up and down their almost like like you're having a CAT scan or something. Really,
they're scanners. Wow.
Yeah, I think they are. They go up and down all around your body, and they'll do that to various people in the group, and then they leave. But anyway,
is there any after effect? What does it do to the people that have been scanned?
No one has had any after effects. They just are. Kind of blown away. They probably went in and had 4 or 5 scotches after that. Anyway, that's another thing I saw. I was driving back from Cleveland along the Cleveland Turnpike. It was about 10:15, and I saw a red orb about 100 feet above me. Go from one horizon to the other horizon in about 2 seconds. Went right across in front of my car as I was driving. And this goes along with this whole thing, like, was I somehow, manipulated into doing it? And then also last summer I saw a white orb, which are kind of rare. I was out on my deck here in Indiana, and right all of a sudden, it just like a light popped on, maybe 500 feet above me, and stayed on for about 20 seconds, and then went off.
Wow.
And so anyway,
I've seen a lot of contact, because the odds of one person having all that with the various types of contact have them.
I totally agree. I totally agree that it's way beyond the odds that I within a year's time period. I saw so many.
Sasha, you're breathing into the mic, or somebody's breathing into the mic.
Not me.
Stop breathing into the mic. Okay, so go ahead, Terry. You were saying?
Anyway, I saw just about every type of orb within a year's time period. But here's the weird thing. Ever since then, I haven't seen anything. I saw about 6 different orbs. Well, my first sighting was of 8 orbs. But since then, then I saw about 6 different other orbs during that same year, and I haven't seen anything since.
I wonder if it comes with the 2015 statistics.
Contact you?
Pardon me?
Like just go out on the porch again, or where you like someplace kind of where you can see the sky and just call them in.
Janet, I've been trying. I really have.
Okay.
I have been standing outside so many nights, and maybe I'm one of these guys. They've used me and used me, abused me, and now they're ignoring me. Who knows? Like I serve my purpose. And then don't bother us anymore.
Well, now they don't have to waste the energy on you anymore. Aww. Well, it's kind of, I have so much contact myself. It's almost like an addiction. It's like, whoa, wait, you can't just stop contacting me. You've got to contact me. And I notice a lot of contactees, they want to contact, and they write it, but the ETs have their own agenda, so they come when they want to. You really don't have much control unless you're Stephen Greer or something.
I wanted to mention something about this Project Orange, something that we're going to do that your listeners may want to. They'll appreciate this, and so will people all over the country. One of the things we're doing is we want people in order to get over the Chinese lantern thing and to bring a lot more people around our way of thinking, we want people to see the orange orbs. And what we're doing is there is one night out of the year where the orb sightings go up 1,000-fold. You want to guess when that is?
Go ahead.
I bet you it's an equinox.
Nope. When are at least 2/3 of the people in the United States looking up at one time?
4th of July.
Absolutely. And the orbs appear right after the grand finale. The orbs come out.
Wow.
And that's their big night. And so here's what we're doing. We're in the process of developing a map, which we're going to be sending out before the 4th of July to the media, and we'll get the word out everywhere. We're going to send out a map of the hot spots. We're doing a 5-year study going back 5 years. We're going to see where the concentrations were on the 4th of July, and we're going to publish the map. Project Orange is going to do this. And we're going to, invite people to go to these spots if they want to see orbs on the 4th of July.
And arm them with cameras and send them all back, all the photos and movies, so we can correlate this information. This is great.
Yeah. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and it'll be a chance for people. Just imagine if, all the people go to the hot spots, and most of them see orbs. Think how many millions of people that have seen orbs, and they were told ahead of time they would.
If you go beyond North America, and you think New Year's Eve would also be a good time because
that's
all
number
over the world.
2. New Year's Eve is number 2.
Right.
Because there's lots of fireworks on New Year's Eve too. Also.
Cool.
Anyway, that's an interesting thing we're doing. We wanted to do something to get the public involved, and that's what we decided to do.
Perfect.
Well, in general, if the public could start, walking around with cameras and they see things, start photographing them and sending them into MUFON for the database, we might get a better picture of the whole global phenomena, 365 days a year.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of an awareness. There are things that may show up, and just be prepared. And everybody has cell phones now. Most of them have cameras.
Yeah.
So it's not that hard, although the quality isn't so great, but it is improving with the different generations of the cell phones.
Yeah. Along that line, Janet, I sent you a picture I have of one of the cases I investigated. a picture of an orb. You'll find it when you go through what I sent you. Maybe post it on your website. Anyway, this picture of an orb that has these orbs sometimes have 2, 3, 4 dozen vehicles inside one orb. They're all inside it together.
Oh, okay.
And I got a picture of that. And some of the orbs are leaving the main orb. Some of the vehicles are leaving the main orb. One of the things that's been photographed many, many times, videotaped with orbs, is orb splitting. There's one orb, all of a sudden it splits and there's 2 orbs. Then it splits and there's 4 orbs. The way that's done is it's sort of what this photo I have is showing. These vehicles, before they leave the orb they're in, they orb themselves. Do you get it? They inflate their orb before they leave the orb. So
have
when
you ever
see it,
the film from Mexico, like Jaime Maussan shows it at his presentation, but it's on YouTube. There's something up in the sky, and it's sending out thousands of these little balls, or hundreds of them, and they're coming from, they just keep popping out, and they float off, and
that's how it's done. That's how it's done. These orbs can contain a countless number of vehicles inside them. They just blow up the orb a little bigger, But anyway, that's what happens. A vehicle's about to leave the orb it's in. It inflates its orb around itself. To an outside viewer, it looks like, their orbs are separated into 2. Well, what's really happening is a vehicle is leaving that main orb, and it's already orbed itself, cloaked itself, and it's just coming out of it. And they also can return to it, and it looks like 2 orbs become 1 orb. But that's what happens. They just fly back inside the orb again.
So it's like the Enterprise has a little shuttlecraft it sends out, but there even potentially is a Battlestar Galactica type vehicle that will hold many Enterprises further up in,
Also, you can separate the bridge from the rest of the ship too.
That is the concept we have. Is a giant ship that might have the intermediate sized ships that go out and send the little shuttlecraft down. It's not necessarily that they have to travel from thousands of miles away. They might just be here, under the waters or up in space. Blessings and aloha.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.